Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome to Fandom FM. I'm your host, Will, and this is the channel where we're going to be diving into all different genres, pretty much in the world of music, and we'll be discussing audio, music production as well. So make sure you stay tuned and don't sleep on any of the dopeness we have going on here on the channel. This is just the very beginning. Make sure you click all those buttons below the video, yada, yada, yada. But with no further ado, let's get into the topic at hand that we came to discuss today. And you saw it on the thumbnail, and I'm talking about PG Lang's artist, of course, Kendrick Lamar's cousin, one of the ones on the up and up right now, one of those ones kind of on that freshman list, if you will, to potentially carry the torch forward as we get into the future of hip-hop. And I'm talking about Baby Keem and his latest album, his latest project, if you will, called Casino. And just for some background on myself as far as my fandom of Baby Keem goes, you know what I'm saying, and the whole thing. I'm a huge fan of TDE, Kendrick Lamar, Black Hippie with like Schoolboy Q, Ab-Soul, J-Rock, all the above. So I've been a fan of TDE since like 2010, 2011, back when I was in high school, in the very beginning of what we millennials like to call the blog era, which a lot of us call one of the greatest times in the entire legacy of the 50 years of hip-hop. And during that whole era, TDE established themselves as a powerhouse in the world of hip-hop, as most of you know, but if you don't know and you're just curious about this, there's a little background for you. And Baby Keem comes along in the early 2020s, late 2010s, as Kendrick Lamar's younger cousin, and he used to actually stay out in Long Beach and ended up moving out to Vegas and ended up growing up out there for most of the rest of his childhood and things like that. And all of those themes and all of those elements of his backstory and of his background all play a part of this album, and that's one of my favorite things about it. So coming into the rap game as it is, Baby Keem had kind of a cosign from Kendrick, you know, after he established his own label of PG Lang, his own thing, kind of separating himself from TDE, but kind of being like clicked up with his old fam in TDE, so they kind of work in tandem together. But this was really Kendrick co-signing kind of that next generation star right there, and kind of doing what Dre did for him back during the blog era in the mid to early 2010s. So the cool thing about that is, with Kendrick giving him this cosign, you know, Baby Keem did put out a couple projects and was doing a bunch of collabs with Kendrick and with other artists and doing a lot of performances and things like that, and got his name out there very quick. And his favorite collaboration and his favorite track that he released prior to this album, at least for me, was Family Ties with Kendrick, where Kendrick's just shooting at everybody, mainly, y'all know who it is, that boy Drake, and just going ham on the beat as usual. But Baby Keem is staying there right with him, switching up the flow, staying in such a really great pocket, and that is what's going to transition us from the background of myself and Baby Keem and where I stand and what's going on with his music to this particular album. And you can't get into this album without talking about the pros and the cons, and that's how we're going to do it really here, as most reviews do. So getting into the pros of this album, Casino, my number one pro, for me at least, I would say, is the overall length of the project is perfect. It comes in with 11 tracks, and it's about 40 minutes long, and it's just the perfect length where you really get a great sense of who Baby Keem is as a person, what really makes him tick as an artist, and you get a lot of different sides of him other than just the hype kind of turn up, kind of just making those anthems for the club and things like that. You really get to get a sense of what an introspective side of Baby Keem as an artist is, and that's one of the number one things I appreciate the most as an artist and as a fan myself. I love how we get to get a real big sense of who he is as a person. And he did these actually promotional video, kind of like mini documentary style, and he split it up into parts and he put them out as episodes. I can't remember the name of them right now, but I'll put that in the edit. But he did these episodes kind of getting into like this little mini documentary that his mom was recording with some home videos of their lives back in Long Beach and then their lives in Vegas. And she was kind of putting like a little mini documentary together because she always thought that she would achieve great things and get out there, get famous and this, that, and the third. So she was kind of recording a lot of different hijinks and things going on. Almost similar to like a lot of those early Baker videos and some of the Baker videos even today with Baker skateboards. If you know, you know. Snoogans. But getting back into what we're talking about here. So he released these promotional videos getting into his life and his family members and other family members getting interviewed about Baby Keem and who he was as a person, that what their views are as him and an artist, and what they see in the growth of him as an artist and as a person over the years, as he went from a young child to a grown man that was literally buying a house for his grandmother and paying the bills for the family, and them really depending on him for support, and him kind of supporting the whole side, his whole, like that whole side of the family over there in Vegas and in Long Beach and all that other stuff. So really getting to see and get a sense of what really makes Baby Keem the person that he is, that led him to the man he has become and to the artist that he is on this album, and everything that he lays out for you as he tells the story, to me, is just so damn well done. I love the way that he just has such flawless storytelling, amazing flows, and amazing lyricism all throughout this album on every single song. Whether it's a more upbeat song, whether it's a song kind of for the ladies, whether it's a song about, you know, growing up in the hood, whether it's a song about being in the casino and being in the club, whatever it's about, he just does an excellent job of painting that picture and matching the vibe and really putting you in that space of him as an artist and what it's like growing up out there in LV, man. And just getting that sense of Vegas and hearing the slot machines and everything that ties into the overall theme of the album, to me, is so well thought out and so well realized from top to bottom on this project. And I just really love the way that the whole casino Vegas theme plays such an integral role in him as a person, but plays such an integral role of the album. And really, when you take that off, it really would make this album very soulless, you know what I mean? But really putting that theme into it and how that plays into his story, I think just really makes it that much stronger. And a lot of people have been making these comparisons of this being his version of Good Kid, Mad City. And in a way, it very much is, but in a way, it very much isn't. Because for me, it isn't going after a particular style of rap where I felt like Kendrick was going after more West Coast gangster rap. Not exclusively, because of course that album is very dynamic and has a lot of different sounds and a lot of different things going on when it comes to the sonics of the album of Good Kid, Mad City. But overall, if you look at it on the surface and really painting the picture and what it was a coming-of-age gangster kind of movie put into the style of a West Coast gangster album, right? This really isn't necessarily that. It does have that West Coast feel, but it definitely isn't just staying in that lane per se. And it isn't trying to just capture 2026 in a nutshell. It does feel a little more timeless in that regard, where I could see myself revisiting this project and other people and other listeners like you guys and gals and everyone in between out there that are going to listen to this. I can see there being a lot of replayability, not just because of the quality of it, but just because the sonics of it make it a bit more timeless, like a lot of those great TDE projects like Control System, Good Kid, Mad City, Oxymoron, all those projects that come from TDE and come from that camp that really are timeless. And I can see that with Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal from last year or the year before and everything like that, where it does feel timeless and it does feel like a snapshot of today and relates and resonates with us in this current time. But I feel like we'll be able to kind of age a little bit as time progresses, but only time will be able to tell. But that's just kind of how I feel from getting the sonics of the album. And when it comes to the sonics of the album, we definitely can't go through this whole discussion without talking about the production on the album. And not that I have the whole entire list of the producers in front of me here, but one of the great things about it was that this was a very dynamic and very cohesive album where, you know what I'm saying, it's just very well mixed. It just has, when it has that low end, when it wants to go for that 808, when it wants to go for that thump, when it wants to really, really freaking hit, make your speakers move, it really does a great job at doing so. And when it wants to be a little bit more of the slower, more mid-tempo, not necessarily boom bap, but just getting out of that more trap kind of feel, it definitely hits. Like when you're talking about songs like Highway 95 Part 2, when you're talking about songs like I'm Not a Lyricist, you know what I'm saying, where you're getting a little bit more of a bare bones beat and getting more of Baby Keem's flow and really what he's talking about in his raps, really leading you through the song and really being at the forefront. The production still does a great job at staying dynamic and being memorable, but letting and allowing that space for his vocals to come in and really do its thing. So I feel like when he wants to do things like House Money, when he wants to do things like the opening track of Casino, or the second track after the opening track of No Security, where you really get that dichotomy of the more mid-tempo, kind of more chill, introspective stuff, and then when you get into that heavy bass and that heavy low end with Casino, and really feeling that Vegas, really feeling that lit fucking vibe, really getting that turn-up feel, it really comes in, and it really all plays so well throughout the album, and it's so well balanced, you know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing I love about this album, that it really does bump in the whip, but at the same time, you have different songs for different vibes at different times. So I love how no matter what you're looking for as a hip-hop fan, you have that here on this album. And the biggest example and the biggest piece of why is the production. So shout outs to all the producers and everyone that worked on the album. Baby Keem being one of them, because he does do a lot of the production and beats for his own songs and everything like that, which is another piece of kind of his genius and his vision. So that really does come to play here, and I think he does a great job at being able to balance both sides of that in a production level, as far as an artist and as a producer and as a beat maker, all of that really being tied together in one, because a lot of this was done in-house. A lot of this was done with a very minimalist team. It wasn't with like a big production team and a bunch of big giant studios all over the country. This was a little bit more of a more simpler production, and you get that from those daily vlog episodes that he was dropping back in March or whatever, when he was doing the rollout for this album. But yeah, man, so a lot of really great things to love about this album, and like I already mentioned, with the pacing, the flows, everything about this, man, was really dope. And like I said, one thing I'm going to leave for the last thing in the pros is the overall features. I think the more unknown features definitely did their thing, definitely were really killing it when it came to like a lot of the more singing, like hook vocals and a lot of those other things that those artists brought to the table. I thought they did a great job at doing that. And then when it comes to the bigger features on here, which are really just two people, that being Too Short with the song, what was that? Sex Appeal, and with Kendrick doing Good Flirts and being on the hook for House Money. I think they did such a phenomenal job at letting Keem really be the focus of the songs, but really coming through and adding their stamp to it. Especially Too Short, it just feels like such a fucking 2000s just banger straight out of the bay. So I really love that about the overall album. And yeah, my only criticism of this album, man, is why didn't Kendrick have a goddamn verse on House Money, man? What are y'all doing over there at PG Lane? Why didn't Kendrick have a verse on that song, man? Crazy. It's criminal. You got to fix that shit. You got to give me an extended edition, y'all. Hook your boy up. But for real, that's literally my only con for this album. Album's incredible, man. This album is fucking phenomenal, man. This is a straight up, when it comes to the overall ranking system, man, for me, it's going to be straight up, like kind of giving you the basic breakdown. It's going to go from kind of like that D, F tier to where it's complete recycle bin, like get that shit out of here. Then we're going to go all the way up to just mid. It's cool. I might listen to it from time to time. I probably won't revisit the whole album. I'll throw it on the playlist. Then you got playlist worthy, which is like that C getting into B tier, where it's a good album, a lot of really good songs, and I'm definitely going to revisit, but I'm probably not going to bump the whole album. And then you got that straight up fire, which is just a dope album, one of the best albums of the year. Maybe not the absolute most top tier album you can get, but it's pretty close. And then you got top tier, S tier. That is obviously as high as you're going to get. So for this one, it's going straight up into that fire. Straight hot fire. I'm spitting hot fire. If you know, you know. But it's going straight up into the fire category, man. It's a dope album for sure, for sure. It's not like a top tier album, I would say. It's not like one of the best albums I ever heard or anything like that. It's not a Good Kid, Mad City. But it's so damn close. I really feel like the sky is the limit for Baby Keem. So let me know what you thought about Baby Keem's latest album, Casino, down below. Let me know your favorite tracks on there. At least for me, some of my favorites are House Money, I'm Not a Lyricist, Highway 95 Part 2, Good Flirts, and then No Blame. I really love that track, man. Such a really cool vibe on that one. I know a lot of people really weren't feeling it, but I definitely did. But give me all your thoughts down below in the comments. We got some other reviews coming at y'all. Fast and Furious, no Vin Diesel, man. And I got that Isaiah Rashad. It's Been Awful album review going to be dropping on the channel this week. And then you got Iceman. You know what I mean? Old Drizzy, I'm going to Take You to Court Drake is dropping his latest album this Friday as of the recording of this video on the 15th. So I'll be doing a review for that early next week when I've had a chance to sit down and listen to the whole thing. Can't wait to see how he's going to be a bigger hypocrite and keep shooting at people, even though he's suing for people dissing niggas, even though I'm sure he's going to be dissing niggas too. So make sure you stay tuned and don't sleep on any of the dopeness on the channel. There's a lot more to come. This is literally the very first video on the channel, and this is literally just the beginning. Sky's the limit. Make sure you check out the main channel as well, Phantom Frequency, where all of this started, where we talk about all the movie, TV, anime, wrestling, all that other side of pop culture. Make sure you hop over there. Jump into the description. I got all the links right there. But until next time, make sure you stay tuned. Much love, and we'll catch you on the next one. And until then, stay up. Peace.